Okay, please, could you introduce yourself to us?
Okay, my name is Lola Olamide Oguntunde, but for short, you can call me Lola Oguntunde.
Where were you born, please?
I was born in Michigan. My parents were going to school in Michigan State University here in the U.S. However, they moved back to Nigeria when I was about 4, I believe. And so that's where I grew up. Most of my early years were in Nigeria.
Where in Nigeria, please?
Ibadan specifically.
Okay, do you speak Yoruba?
Of course.
Could you speak one or two, make one or two statements in Yoruba to our viewers?
Ekaro, because it's morning over here. It's about 11:55, so Ekaro. And Eshetenwo radio show here, the TV show.
Tell us, please, what do you do in New York?
In New York, I am an attorney. I have my own practice. I'm a lawyer, and I practice in areas of immigration, in areas of estates. Estates covers things like wills and trusts. So just think about when someone dies. In any way that you can represent a dead person. That's what I do, and I also do divorces.
Are you involved in the Nigerian community, in the African community here in New York?
I'm involved in the Nigerian Lawyers Association. Unfortunately, I'm not that civically involved because as can be imagined, I work about 15-hour days. But whenever I get a chance to, I join the Nigerian Lawyers Association, and actively involved in that organization.
How do you love living in New York, please?
Oh, I love New York. As a matter of fact, I just moved to Brooklyn less than a year ago, and all my lovely Nigerian restaurants are located in Brooklyn. So everything from Buka to Tropicana and a couple of other restaurants I visited. So I love New York. It could get to be a little bit too much sometimes. But for the most part, I don't think I would trade it for any other state in the United States.
What do you eat when you go to those Nigerian restaurants?
Oh, I love me some pounded yam and some egusi. That's the best part. And sometimes I go for pepper soup if they have goat pepper soup.
Do you make this at home?
Not really. I like to eat other people's food. So I mostly like to go out to buy it because it tastes better when they make it than when I do. So, but once in a while, I either make it at home, or if my mom comes to visit, I beg her to make me some food. So I'm constantly eating some pounded yam and egusi soup.
What do you think about the... How do you describe the life of the Nigerian or African immigrant in New York or in the United States?
Sometimes I like to separate New York from the rest of the United States. New York is a melting pot of different cultures, different races, different people from all over the world. So I found, because I've also lived in different areas in the United States. When I first moved here, I lived in Arizona, and then I lived in Atlanta in the South, and now I'm in New York. And I feel New York is more embracing of different cultures than other parts of the United States. So I've certainly, as an African, as a Nigerian, I've had an easier time here in New York than I have in other areas of the United States. So like I said, in New York, you're just one of the many masses of people. I blend right in New York as opposed to other areas of the United States.
In terms of challenges for immigrants leaving their countries, coming abroad, coming to the U.S., what do you think? Is it worth it? Given what you see, about the challenges that immigrants face here, is it worth it to leave your country
and come here?
Yeah, that's right. Is it worth it?
You know what? I think it really comes down to the age. And this is based on my opinion. I feel like the older you are when you come to the United States, the more difficult it is to adapt yourself to the way of life in the U.S. I came back when I was 17, so it was easy for me to adopt a new culture and be part of that culture. But I've also seen people who are way older, and they're well established in Nigeria and come to the United States and find that even though they had really high positions in Nigeria, they have to start basically from the bottom up in the United States. So, that makes you weigh, whether or not it's better to leave Nigeria with your high-paying job and to come to the United States to get a job that doesn't pay you that well. So I would say unless you're ready to go back to school when you move to the United States and train yourself and, start from the bottom up, that, it's usually beneficial when people do that, as opposed to just coming here and having to take how would I describe it? Sort of like a secretarial or, jobs that don't pay you as much, basically. I don't know if that makes sense to you, what I'm saying. But, it's usually easier, I think, when people are younger because you easily adapt yourself to the new culture.
So for older people, are you saying it's probably better for them to be in Nigeria or in their country, perhaps?
It's better for them to either be in Nigeria or when they come here, Nigerians, I love Nigerians to death, but we're proud people. When we come to the United States, we feel that, I don't want to start from the bottom up, so I'm not going to go back to school. I'm just going to do, get whatever I can and, make it happen. I feel like sometimes you need to humble yourself. Go back to school, get another degree if you have to, and kind of work your way, get an internship, something, and work your way up from there. Or, another suggestion is people can start their businesses. It's easy to start a business in the United States if you have a little bit of capital, that is, to start a business, and you can keep going back and forth between here and Nigeria so you're not just stagnant here.
Why do you think is the main reason people are leaving Nigeria to come abroad, to come to the U.S.? Why is, besides the fact that they want to get a better life?
Right.
What's the reason? What's the exodus? What's the reason for the exodus, really?
Well, I wouldn't say it's just Nigeria specifically. I think most people in other parts of the world think the United States is the land of honey for whatever reason. And to a certain extent.
Is it? Okay.
To a certain extent, it is because, you have certain opportunities here that you might not have in your country, But I also need people to understand that other countries, are using the United States as an example, and they're striving to be more like the United States, so that hopefully in a couple of decades from now, people would not find the necessity to want to move here to the United States, and they can have a good life, wherever they are, and maybe visit the United States once in a while as opposed to uprooting your entire family and coming here to live.
What do you think is the problem of Nigeria, or problems, basically? What, in terms of our seeming inability to get our country running better, what do you think really are the problems?
Oh my God, these are deep-rooted problems, I would say, and I think over time, if we have the right people in office, it will change. But I think the greatest problem is greed. I think that's a bottom line. That's a fundamental problem. I think a lot of people, just like in most countries, make a lot of promises when they're campaigning for office, and about making changes, and then they get into office and get greedy. And all they're thinking about is how to line my own pocket and not necessarily meeting their obligations of the promises that they made. And so I feel like a lot of people lose focus when they get into office and forget the reasons why they're there. So if, we can have more leaders who are forthcoming, who, know that we're doing this for the people and not for our pockets, I think that Nigeria can go a long way.
Thank you.